What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Spur here. We're back at it, and I'm doing a viewer request. Someone asked me the other day how exactly I went about getting flying military training routes in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. How did I get that information? Where I got it, and how I put it in the sim. It's pretty simple. The first thing I wanted to do real quick, in case you're not familiar with special use airspace, is just kind of briefly go over that. What I've been doing, there's lots of different types of special use airspace for the military. You've got military training routes, you've got MOAs or MOAs, you've got restricted areas, you've got alert areas, you've got warning areas. So what we're going to be dealing with is the MTRs, which are low-level training routes, even though some of them aren't quite that low. Basically, what an MTR is stands for military training route. It allows military jets to fly low-level routes below 10,000 feet in excess 250 knots. The altitude can vary a lot depending on the type of route it is. It could be anywhere from like 100 feet to thousands of feet. Depends on the route. There's two different types of military training routes. There's actually more than that, but the two main types are going to be IR routes and VR routes. VR routes are flown in VMC conditions. IR routes are flown in IMC conditions. VR routes tend to be the lower, the top end of the route is not as high. IR routes can go several thousand feet. So here we're looking at one that I plan to do on my next live stream in Microsoft with the T-45, and what I'm wanting to do is to fly IR-34. This is basically it. It just starts at the tip of Florida and goes up through around the Everglades, over Lake Okeechobee, and into the Pine Castle bomb range here. So this is basically it. This would be entry point A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and K. We go into the Pine Castle bomb range, and the MOAs here, you can see all the different MOAs and restricted areas. And then when we're done messing around inside the range, you come out of the range on another low-level route called IR-48 over to MacDill Air Force Base. This would be A, B, and C here. I comprised all these into one route, into one flight plan for the trip. So basically, the first thing you're going to need is Skyvector. This is the main thing that I use to plan these routes out. Skyvector would be like your starting point for this. Skyvector has a wealth of information on it. If you haven't used it, I would definitely look at it, for all kinds of flying, not just military flying. But Skyvector is going to show you a lot of information. Here in Central Florida is a good area. You see your MOAs here. In red, this is Lake Placid East, Lake Placid West. Here, your restricted areas are 2901 A and B, BG and N, BH and N. There's several different sections of that restricted area. Meridian MOA, Avon East High, Bassinger MOA. So you can see all this information right here. And then they have military training routes as well. Here's IR-55, and it's an IMC route, IR-50 and 51. VR 1006 or 1006, VR 1089, 1087. I think, don't quote me on it, but I think the 4-number designator on the VR routes is 1,500 feet to 500 feet. I think if it's a 3-letter designator, it could be higher. It could have a portion higher than 1,500, I think. So these, these MTRs right here, you want to think of these. I mean, they're projected as lines on the sectional, right? We're looking at a sectional, but they're actually corridors. These routes can vary in width, anywhere from just a mile or two to maybe 5 miles on either side. So it basically would give them like a 10-mile corridor that they could fly along, which allows them to do a little maneuvering and things like that, and maneuvering for terrain and stuff like that. So think of it that way. If we go to the world low, you're going to see the IR routes on it. It's a good way to really kind of pick them out. You see several coming out of Tampa right here, 49, 50, and 51. Let's see what else we got. The VR routes are not on here. The VR routes are not on the low chart. just the sectional. So we'll go back to the sectional. So the next part you're going to want to set up these VR routes in Microsoft is an AP1B is going to be really, really super handy. And we'll pull that up real quick. What the AP1B is area planning, military training routes, North and South America. It's a DoD publication. And basically what this does is it has all the military training routes in the United States and associated territories. I think it's United States, continental United States, Alaska, and Puerto Rico is what's in it, I think. So the route that I had planned out in Lower Florida is IR034, and this is going to be information about it. You just scroll through it. It has all the routes listed. It starts with the IRs in the beginning, then it goes to the VRs, and I think it might have it's got slow routes, which is a third type of route. We'll get to that in a bit. Slow routes, and I think it even has the air-to-air refueling tracks. Yes, okay. So at the very end. Maybe it might have MOAs too. I can't remember if this one has MOAs or another pub. It may be the other pub. Okay, so let's go back up here to IR34 and look at it. All right, so the route I had planned on Skyvector is IR34. You know, a lot of this information doesn't pertain to what we're doing in Microsoft. This is just for simming reasons, but just out of interest, you can look at this other stuff. IR34 originating activity is the 347th Rescue Wing out of MacDill Air Force Base. It's scheduled out of MacDill. A lot of, you know, most all these military training routes are owned by, not literally owned, but they're kind of overseen by specific units in the military. So this would be the 347th Rescue Wing detachment out of MacDill Air Force Base. Which basically means if someone wanted to fly this route, a military unit wanted to fly it in real life, they would have to schedule it through this unit here, since they oversee it. Its hours of operation are 0600 to 2400 local, so 6 a.m. to midnight. Hours vary a lot on MTRs. Some are continuous, some are specific, some are day only, some are sunrise to sunset. It varies a lot. So. And then after hours operation gives a route description, and these are your waypoints. Point A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and K. K exiting into the Avon range. And it gives you the altitudes. So you fly whatever you're assigned to point A, and then after point A, you fly 1,000 AGL to 3,000 MSL. MSL is important. So 1,000 AGL to 3,000 MSL. You do that all the way down to point D. Then after point D, you can go all the way down to 100 feet. And the top end is 3,000 MSL. As you get closer to the range, it's 2,000 MSL. Now, the part of this is, I mean, this is good information to know when you're actually flying the route. If you want to fly it realistically, you want to know what your vertical limits are on the route, right? But what's important for flight planning purposes is the latitude and longitude right here on the right hand side. This is going to give you the information you need to plot it out. It gives you other information over here, like terrain following operations are authorized from D to K. Excuse me. It says route width 8 nautical miles on either side of the center line, A to J, and then 6 on either side. So it's pretty wide, you know, route. And then it tells you special operating procedures. You know, some of these can kind of be important to what you're doing. Most aren't. Visual road reconnaissance or photo reconnaissance route. Not really 100% sure what that means. I think that means that they can fly down roads and like make pictures of your cars or target your car or whatever for practice. It says it terminates at Avon Park Gunnery Range and may only be scheduled in conjunction with the range. So in other words, you got to have the range scheduled if you want to fly into it. It tells you other information like noise sensitive areas you might have to avoid, like Immokalee and Clewiston airports, or those are airports, those aren't noise sensitive. 3 nautical miles. Minimum altitude over the Everglades National Park, 1,000 AGL. Minimum altitude within 3 nautical miles of H is 500 AGL. Alternate entries, those are important, D and H. So you don't have to start at the start. You could start at D or H if you wanted to. There's no alternate exit, so once you're on it, you're on it. You don't come off until you get to the bomb range. So you're committed to the range. All requests must be approved by 347th Wing Detachment 1, blah, blah, blah. That's not that important. Route clearance is only valid for 30 plus 30 minutes from scheduled time. And then it gives you some information about uncharted towers and that sort of thing. Just general information about the route. H is a mandatory reporting point. It doesn't say who you report to. Sometimes you have to call a local ATC or like an approach controller or something like that. But H may be where you have to report to the bomb range. It doesn't specify, but and then it tells flight service stations within 100 miles. I'm not sure about IR routes. I know on VR routes when they enter, they have to they check in with a flight service station. They call in the blind to a flight service station. So entry for these routes when it comes to ATC is a whole different ball game. It's like how that works out. So yeah, this is a very good information that you need to have. So you need to have Skyvector in the AP1B route, all right? You need to be able to look at this stuff, especially the latitude and longitude points for your route. And then the third most important thing is going to be Simbrief. We're going to use Simbrief to actually make the flight plan and get it into the sim. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to clear this route out. I've already got it filed and ready to go. We're going to clear it out real quick. And we're going to do another route really fast. Pretty simple route. Go up here to, where's it at? Knoxville. Here we go. Okay, so weather's not the greatest up here. Weather is also something you have to take into consideration when you're flying these, especially the VR routes. So what we're going to do is simulate a mission that's flown a good bit by naval trainers, by T-45s, is a flight down a route called VR 1055 through Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama. It's one that they use a lot. It's through the mountains. It's actually a really pretty route. So we're going to fly from, we're going to do, usually it's like a multi-leg trip. So we're going to say we originate in Tyson, like we stop there for fuel or something. And we're going to pick up the low level after we depart Tyson. All right, here we go. So we departed Tyson. And down here about Tariffville or Tellico Plains, about halfway in between, is going to be the start of VR 1055. So the easiest way to get these plotted out is we've already got our originating point, our departure point at Tyson. You could put in other nav aids that you need to get to the VR, but it's right here at Tyson, so we're going to say we fly direct VFR. So then you would right click on the starting point and plan the GPS coordinates, right? There you go. Okay, so this is going to be point A on the route. Then you'll fly down here. You have to zoom in and look really close. This is where the AP1B gets kind of important because sometimes the visual of the route on the chart gets a little muddied and you can't tell quite what's going on. So I just know this route really well. There's point B. So we right click it and plan that one. Then we come on down to, where's it going to be? Here we go, all the way past LJ, Georgia. This is going to be point C right here. Okay, so we've got A, B, and C plotted in on the route. We're going to come over to Mentone, point D, and plan that out. All right, and we'll just keep doing the same thing. Now, there's a little tiny turn point right here. E is just a turn of a few degrees. It's not a lot. Sometimes these routes will have turns in them that you can't really visualize on the chart, but they're there. This would be one of those turn points, so we'll put one there and plot it out as E. Now, you know, I know that because I'm familiar with the route. If you're not familiar with the routes, you may want to enter in the points from the AP1B, right? So we got A, B, C, D, and E. Let's say we weren't exactly sure where steer point F was at, right? Let's say we're not sure. Let's go to VR 1055. Let's find it. 1046. 59. Passed it just a tad. 54. 55, right? Okay, so where did we leave off at? A, B, C, D, E. So we need point F. We're not sure where point F. You could plot all these out this way if you wanted to. It takes a little time. It takes a little time, but you guaranteed to have your route accurate, right? So we need point F on T1055. So we scroll down, we go to the AP1B, and we look for point F. Steer point F. It's 100 feet AGL to 1,500 feet AGL, point F. This is the VOR information. This is the fixed radial distance coming off of Lagrange VOR. 237 radial at the 6 DME. So the latitude and longitude is going to be north 33 by west 8518. So this is the information that we need to put in, right? Okay, so if we go back to Skyvector, we'll say it's north 33. You look at the format that's in here. So we'll go in here to the next waypoint and we'll do, all right, well, it cleared it out for us for whatever reason. All right, 3300 north by 08518 west. And there we go. All right, our route should be in. And there you go. Here's our next steer point right here. So it worked out perfect. So that was F. Let's look at, let's see what do we want here. We'll do G. G is going to be 3241 north. So we'll go back and add that in. 3241 north. And our other is going to be 8555 west, so we'll put that in. 08555 west. Add it in. Select it, and there we go. There's the turn point down at Martin Lake Dam. Good steer point. A lot of these steer points are off visual landmarks too. Some of them, not all, but some. All right, so we've got one more steer point to go. Let's look back at the route. We'll say 3246 by 8702. Now, I know where that's at. That's going to be right here going into the Birmingham MOAs or the MOAs. It's going to be right there. But let's plot it in manually just to see. So once again, it is 3246 north. So we'll do 3246 north by 8702 west by 08702 west. I have to put in the W, hit enter, and there you go. Bam, right there on top of it. And that's your route. That's basically your route. Your route has been plotted in and ready to go. Any other navigation that we wanted to do after that, we could say, what else could we do? I was looking for a, for demonstration purposes, we'll say we want to fly to the Birmingham VOR or Tuscaloosa. Sorry, Tuscaloosa. The Crimson VOR. So we'll hit plan. We'll right click on it, hit plan. There we go. And then say we're going to go to Meridian and make our arrival, and we'll plan it out there. So there you see. There's the Crimson VOR, and Meridian's been added in as well. So that is our route. We've got it planned out. This is what we're going to fly. We're going to depart Knoxville. We're going to fly direct to entry point A, fly the route all the way down here to the exit at the Birmingham MOA. Then we're going to fly up to Tuscaloosa VOR and then fly to Meridian. That's our entire route, right? Sometimes I put a time in, and altitude isn't that important. I may put like, I don't know, we'll put in 010 or something. We'll throw that in there. It's not really important. Put in about 350 knots, 320, somewhere in there about what you're going to be flying, just to give you like a time estimate. The distance and the time is kind of important for fuel reasons. So we've got that. The next part of this is to take this into Simbrief. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to highlight all this, right click it and copy it. And at this point, you're going to go to Simbrief, right? And we're going to say, we're going to depart KTYS, Tyson, McGee, we're going to go to, what's Meridian? NMM. These naval air stations have the weirdest codes. NMM. That's going to be our route. It'll put it in. There we go. Airframe. There's not, there's no military jets in here. You have to pick something close. I like to fly the T-45 in Microsoft. The closest thing I could think of, maybe in a rough ballpark, it would be like a Citation CJ2 or something. Just plug that in. It doesn't have to be exact. I mean, hell, you could put in a 747 if you wanted. You're not using anything from Simbrief other than the lateral navigation. You're not using the fuel. You're not using any of that. So we picked the Citation 2. Let's come down. It's going to throw you a route in there, just the route that they suggest. You're not going to need that, though. What you do is you paste in your route that you want to fly. This is going to be it. We're going to analyze the route. It'll be okay. It'll always be okay. It won't have a problem with these waypoints. Route is okay. And now that we're done with that, we'll generate it. We'll generate the OFP. There we go. And we'll let it generate. And it's done. And here's our route. You can see it's plotted in. It's good to go. Right, there's everything we need. Route exit. And I'm not sure. Oh, that's top of descent. Okay. Yeah, it's not important to us. Exit right here, flying up to Tuscaloosa and then down to Meridian. And that's basically it. It just gives you your steer points in the route. Like I said, we don't need the vertical nav. We don't need anything else other than the lateral navigation. None of this other stuff means anything to us at this point because it's not geared towards military aviation. So at that point, when you're done with it, you just go over here to your download, just like any other flight plan, and you download FS2020, and there you go. It saved it on my computer, wherever you may have it saved to. It varies from person to person. Then when you load up Microsoft and you have your little fighter jet or whatever it is you want to fly for that military training route, you load the flight plan on the map just like you would any other flight plan. Now, another really quick thing I wanted to go over really fast. This is the flight plan that we're going to be flying. This is what was saved out for Microsoft that you load into Microsoft to fly, right? This is the name. Usually I like to rename it something a little better than that. I would name it like TYS VR1055 K or something like that. When you look at these steer points in your nav system in Microsoft, it's going to be identified as, it's got Microsoft starting in the background. It's going to be identified as 3584 North. The next one, that's going to be point A. The next one, point B, is going to be 3584 North. 3484 North. I like to go back and change these names. So what you're going to look for is you're going to see Tyson right here. This is your first waypoint, your originating waypoint. The next ATC waypoint ID is going to be at 3484 North. I know that's point A on my Skyvector plot. So I'm going to change it to A. Then I'm going to go down to the next one, to the next ATC waypoint ID, 3584 North, and I'm going to change it to B. The next one will be C. Next one after that will be D. And the next one after that will be E. We'll leave the other one so you can see the difference, and then you go up here and you just hit save. And all right, now let's jump into Microsoft and we'll load it up. So we're in Microsoft now. We've got our wonderful Boeing T-45C selected. We're on the map screen, and basically the next part of this, what we're going to do is we're going to do load save, and we're going to hit load, and we're going to pick out our flight plan that we got here, the KTYS NM. Like I said, usually any other time I'd rename it to something more recognizable. Load it. And there you go. There's our route in. You can see we'll leave Tyson McGee up here in Knoxville. We pick up steer point A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and exit at H. Then fly to Tuscaloosa to the Crimson VOR. and then down to Meridian. Weather doesn't look that great, so it probably wouldn't be doable today. But all right, let's load it in. Let's take a look at it in the plane. All right, we're loaded in. We're sitting on the runway at Knoxville. We're in our T-45 here. Beautiful little airplane. I'd absolutely get it if you haven't. It's a lot of fun to fly. We're sitting here at Knoxville, and you can see our nav window over here. Our first waypoint is A, which is entry into the route. We'll scroll on through it. There's B, C, D, E, and there's F. You remember I didn't change F in the notepad because I wanted you guys to see 3385 north. It's really confusing when you're looking at the AP1B and you're looking at your altitude constraints. It's much better to have your steer points named correctly than this because you'll get lost really easy, especially on the more complex routes. So that's E, F, G, H, the exit, the LDKVOR at Tuscaloosa, and then Meridian, and that's it. That's basically it. These are canned routes. They're pre-done routes. You load them in when you load your plane up. I've never tried them sitting on the ramp. You can't do them sitting on the ramp in the T-45. There's not a way to enter waypoints into your nav. Everything has to be pre-done or canned to fly this plane. If you want to fly a flight plan, there's no changing things on the fly. You know, no changing things on the air, no changing things on the ramp. It is what it is. You fly your canned route. So that's like one of the downsides of it. Of course, when you load your route at the map screen, it's going to put you on the runway. That's one of my areas that I don't care for in Microsoft. Wow, look at that weather. Nice. One of the things I don't care about in Microsoft is the fact that it puts you on the runway. I wish there's a way that you could load a plan like that and just load to the ramp or to a parking spot and not on the runway. If I'm going to do a video and I want to do it from the ramp, I'll just load it in and then taxi the airplane off to the ramp and then start from that point. But that's basically it. So you can go up and you can fly this route. You can have your, I like to pull my AP1B up on a second monitor. I can sit here and look at my constraints and all my notes and things like that and know exactly what I need to do. So that's basically it. I hope that helps you if you enjoy this kind of flying. It's a lot of fun and it's amazing to do in Microsoft. You get to enjoy this gorgeous, beautiful scenery down low and in the weeds. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the comments below. Love to hear from you if there's anyone else that likes to fly low-level routes and stuff like that. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Love to hear from you, and we'll catch you in the air next time. Peace.